Even though you were in love, but it felt more like a wild ride you never signed up for. On Keep Calm Margot, we dig into the hidden trust about love, dating, and relationship. What you are feeling might not be love at all. It could be a trauma bond, one of the most common traps people fall into. Today I'll share 5 clear signs to help you spot the difference and finally break free. Sign number 1. The cycle of high highs and low lows. Real love is steady. It may not always feel like a Hollywood movie, but it's consistent, safe, and predictable. A trauma bond, on the other hand, it's a roller coaster. One week everything feels magical. They're showering you with affection, making big promises, saying things like, "You're the best thing that ever happened to me." And for a moment you believe it. You feel special, seen, and completely hooked. Then out of nowhere, the energy shifts. They pull away. They criticize you. They start a fight over something small. Suddenly you are confused, anxious, and desperate to get back to the good version of them. This back and forth cycle is one of the clearest signs of a trauma bond. Because in real love, affection doesn't disappear like the Wi-Fi signal at your parents' house. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement, and it's the same psychological trick that keeps people addicted to gambling. You don't know when the next reward is coming, so you stay invested, hoping for another hit of that early affection. Red flag test. If you feel constant anxiety about which version of your partner you are going to get today, that's not love, that's a trauma bond. And no, just because they take you to a Taco Bell at 2 a.m. after ignoring your texts all day doesn't count as romance. Sign number 2. You feel addicted to them, even when they hurt you. Healthy love makes you feel safe, not obsessed. But in a trauma bond, your connection to this person can feel more like an addiction. You might find yourself thinking about them constantly, checking your phone every 5 minutes or making excuses for their behavior, even when you know it's wrong. And it's not just in your head, it's in your body. When you are in trauma bond, your brain is literally pumping out chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin every time they give you attention. And when they withdraw that attention, boom, cortisol and adrenaline flood your system, creating stress and panic. This circle of reward and withdrawal hijacks your nervous system. You don't just want them, you feel like you need them. One study in the Journal of Traumatic Stress found that victims of abuse relationships often describe their bond with their partner in terms similar to drugs addiction. That's how powerful these dynamics can be. Red flag test. If the thought of leaving this person makes you feel like you are going through withdrawal, that's not love, that's a trauma bond. Love is supposed to feel like a cozy cup of coffee, not like you are trying to quit a caffeine cold turkey. Sign number 3. You keep excusing or rationalizing their bad behavior. We've all made excuses for people we care about. That's human. But in a trauma bond, the level of excuse making goes into Olympic territory. Maybe they lie, but you tell yourself, well, everyone makes mistakes. Maybe they disappear for days and you say, they're just busy with work. Or worse, maybe they yell, manipulate, or belittle you. And you convince yourself it's because they love you so much or just had a rough childhood. This is where trauma bonds get especially dangerous. You start confusing mistreatment with intensity. Here's the thing, empathy is beautiful, but not when it becomes self-destruction. You can understand someone's trauma without making it your job to suffer through it. As Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Love doesn't require you to constantly rewrite someone else's story just to justify why you are still in it. Red flag test. If your inner monologue sounds like a defense attorney for their bad behavior, you are probably in a trauma bond. Sign number 4. The relationship feels impossible to leave, even when you know it's toxic. Here's one of the clearest signs of a trauma bond. You know the relationship is unhealthy, but the idea of leaving feels unthinkable. Friends might tell you to walk away. Your family might be worried. Deep down, you might even agree. And yet, you stay. Why? Because trauma bonds create a powerful psychological glue called cognitive dissonance. It's the mental tug-of-war between I love them and they hurt me. To resolve the discomfort, your brain chooses the path of least resistance, staying and justifying. Add to that fact that the relationships probably started with the intense love bombing, all that over-the-top affection at the beginning, and leaving feels like giving up on the version of the relationship you hope will come back. Red flag test. If leaving feels scarier than staying, even though staying hurts, that's not love, that's a trauma bond. A healthy relationship should feel like a choice, not a prison sentence. If your relationships feel harder to quit than Netflix after a free trial, something's wrong. Sign number 5. Your self-worth depends on their approval. This is perhaps the most painful sign of all. In a trauma bond, your sense of self slowly erodes. You stop trusting your own judgment, your own feelings, even your own identity. Instead, your self-worth gets tied entirely to whether this person approves you. When you are affectionate, you feel amazing, like you're finally enough. When they withdraw or criticize you, you feel worthless. This constant push and pull chips away at your confidence until you are a shell of the person you used to be. And that's exactly why trauma bonds are so powerful. They train you to outsource your value to someone else. Red flag test. If you only feel good about yourself when they are giving you attention, that's not love, that's a trauma bond. Love builds you up. Trauma bonds break you down. As Bell Hooks beautifully wrote in All About Love, love is an action, never simply a feeling. And if the action in your relationship are eroding your self-worth, it's not love, no matter what it feels like in the moment. How to break a trauma bond. Recovery tips. Now that we've walked through the signs, let's talk about what to do if you realize you are in the trauma bond. Acknowledge the truth. Denial keeps you stuck. Admitting this is a trauma bond, not love, is the first and hardest step. Seek support. Trauma bonds thrive in isolation. Reach out to trust friends, family, or therapist. Having an outside perspective helps you see clearly. Go no contact if possible. Like any addiction, healing requires cutting off the source. If you can't go no contact, say in co-parenting situations, set extremely firm boundaries. Rebuild your identity. Start reconnecting with hobbies, passions, and people that remind you who you are outside of the relationship. Be patient with yourself. Breaking a trauma bond takes time. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll feel tempted to go back. And that's normal. Remember, you don't fall into a trauma bond because you are weak. You fell because you are human. Your brain was wired to confuse chaos with love, but now you have an awareness to rewrite that story. Outro. So let's recap. If your relationship feels like a cycle of highs and lows, if you feel addicted to someone even when they hurt you, if you keep excusing their bad behavior, if living feels impossible, and if your self-worth depends entirely on them, then it's not love, it's a trauma bond. Love is supposed to be a safe place, not a battlefield. And while trauma bonds can feel intoxicating in the short term, they're slowly destroying your ability to truly love and be loved in a healthy way. If this video hit close to home, take it as a sign. You deserve better. You deserve love that feels calm, consistent, and kind. As Rumi once wrote, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And sometimes that means breaking free from the illusion of love, so you can finally experience the real thing. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. Because the more we talk about trauma bonds, the less power they have over us. Stay strong, stay awake, and remember, love should never feel like a prison. Thank you for being with me on Keep Calm, Margot. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!